And good afternoon to those of you dialing in from Eastern Canada, United States. Good morning to those in Western Canada, United States. Good evening to those in the Middle East, Asia, and Africa. My name is Michael Haynes, and welcome to another edition of Breaking Through in B2B. Breaking Through in B2B is a live stream show dedicated to helping leaders of small and medium B2B professional service firms. Really looking forward to our guests today, and the theme of our discussions today is to outsmart and outperform how accounting and technology firms can thrive. Today's guest is Cal Salem, who is a digital technology and business transformation leader and specialist, and the managing partner of Excellence. Cal, how are you today?
I'm doing fine, and thank you very much for having me, Michael.
Great. Really looking forward to the discussion. For those of you that are participating and dialing in live, please in the comments, say hello. Let us know where you're dialing in from. And for those of you on recording, do say hello as well. Cal, really looking forward to today's discussion, a very timely discussion talking about how professional service firms can thrive in today's highly competitive markets. The world of professional services is facing a lot of intense competition. In the accounting space, for example, there's a lot of new players coming in. Bigger players are trying to do different things. There's a big trend towards firms moving toward more strategic and advisory services. What sort of things are you seeing, Cal, from a technology perspective, point of view?
Well, a great topic to talk about. Let's create a reference point and let's baseline our conversation to the pandemic, pre-pandemic, post-pandemic. And I believe many of those organizations that you just sampled, starting with accounting and technology, realized the importance of their role in people's lives and vice versa from those who are receiving the service, whether B2B or even B2C. But the focus today is more on the B2B. How can I rely on my service provider in crisis times like we've been through? What has been the case for them to deliver business before the pandemic, and how did the pandemic really help them change the business model to accommodate all sorts of businesses that they are dealing with, especially that many of accounting and technology service providers of different types deal with cross industry. If they are not focused on one, this actually mandates them to become more ready to accommodate a larger market segment. And you will find that many of those organizations went really fast into changing their business model, coupling with their customers as business customers receiving that kind of service, and hybrid remote became part of the vocabulary that everybody is placing on the table. But most importantly, everybody realized within these specific segments, accounting and technology services firms, professional services firms, who's my customer? How much do I know about them? How are we well connected? Can they rely on us? What are we delivering? All these questions now are becoming more of an answer to vocalize, to show that you're focused, to demonstrate that you're connected and very well delivering your specific service to your exact target business customer.
That's fantastic, Cal. And you've touched on some key points. That whole point about being focused and connected is really quite prevalent, particularly in a B2B context, because using that benchmark, that marker in terms pre versus post pandemic, the buying behaviors of the B2B buyers, of the decision makers, our clients who are purchasing, accounting services, technology services, professional services, the buyers of these services, how they buy has significantly changed. We've kind of gone through a shift from what they've done pre-pandemic to post, to where we are today now, 29th/30th of May 2024, whereby now with B2B buyers in professional services, the number one thing that they're looking for is this depth of expertise. And as as such, they are doing a lot of things now. More people are involved in the decision making when purchasing the likes of accounting and technology services. There's more self-education and research, and they're doing it through third parties. So it's not about them going to your website, but they're going through other sources, industry and professional associations, tapping into their networks. And so they're looking for that depth of expertise, seeking what I call AIR, advice, insights, and recommendations. And now very much is what we're seeing is a trend towards not so much how things can be solved, but whom can solve them. So they're looking for who are those trusted advisors, partners, service providers. So they are doing more independent research, getting more people involved, and they're really tapping into their professional networks, their ecosystems to answer and determine who can deliver, who is really focused and connected to them and understand them to be able to deliver the services that they require with that depth and expertise that they're seeking. So you're absolutely right. So as a result of that, there are a number of things that I think folks need to be doing in terms of whether you're in accounting, technology, B2B or B2C, but particularly in B2B, there's some key things that folks need to be doing. First of all, is about this whole listening. Listening on two levels, listening to the market and listening to the buyer, listening to the market to getting that in-depth of understanding of what's going on in those industries and geographic markets that you're currently serving, seeking to serve with your accounting technology clients. Industry and professional associations are a great way to do so. And then also listening at the buyer level. So really understanding those decision makers. And there's really three key questions folks need to understand as leaders of accounting and technology firms in terms of getting an in-depth understanding of who are the decision makers, what are their key challenges and priorities for which they are seeking those advice, insights, and recommendations, and how they go about buying. Where are they tapping into, with whom are they going to for those trusted sources of advice, insights, really gaining an understanding of what's going on with those priorities and challenges of their clients, and having those discussions to be focused and connected, as you pointed out, Cal. So these are some broader things from a broader perspective in terms of what folks need to be doing to really understand their markets and to understand their decision makers. What are some key things where we're going to be tapping into from a technology perspective, which impacts both accounting and technology firms? What are some of the things, Cal, that they can be doing to successfully outsmart, outperform, and thrive? What are some of the things that firms should be doing and considering?
Let's use the word listening as a cornerstone to build an approach. If I am to listen, then I am paying attention to the voice of customer, VOC, which is a very, very important practice that mirrors what we're doing in the market. That means that we're harvesting data through different sources to understand the perspective from different levels and how people are seeing the organization, whether accounting or technology professional services, equally and across the board for professional services firms at large, above and beyond just accounting and technology services. And the first notion that anyone would have, just like you said, I'll hop on to Google or any other source of information that I'm seeking to gather some information about the organization, and I'll start looking at what people are saying. But most importantly, as an organization myself, as a firm, what am I collecting? So I have to be very well channeled in terms of gathering that type of information being spread about the brand of the firm and the services that the firm offers and the excellence that people see it at a different level of possibly a spectrum from good, bad, ugly, or even excellent. We still don't know. Put that in a context of a very well constructed CRM. Because without your customer relationship management engine helping you with understanding the perception, how are you going to design your next level marketing campaign, and what are you exactly targeting to help your customers with? What are their expectations? This is one point to harvest. When do they need it? Another one. How do they expect it versus how it really is? That is all perception. Might not be completely related to the reality of the service and the receiver of the service. There's an educational part that the organization must conduct through their marketing campaigns to explain how the adoption of their services should be received. If we focus a bit on accounting, we all see and know how of a hard time accountants go through during the tax season, because everything is in a way or another handed to them manually sometimes. Like this list of receipts is literally thrown in front of them. Oh, sorry, I forgot to bring these earlier. And that technology absence is turning their lives into a living hell, versus the customer not having the existing. That's the business to business relationship that we're trying to establish here, where my customer should be well equipped and well trained on how to use technology to channel this very important information to me. And I am ready to receive it in an automated way, intelligent way, and I can plug it in, get the service done, and ensure that there is enough credibility in everything that we're doing towards producing a viable outcome. Same thing is working with technology services, professional services. Both have a common ground. If you don't have a proper digital workplace construct, it will be very difficult for you to advocate to your business customers to actually map or sync with you in an automated way. This is a gap that we're seeing across the North American market, equally between Canada and the United States to start with, where most small and medium businesses are lacking the proper foundation to advocate for an automated approach or view of how their business model should be constructed based on a healthy way of adopting technology, specifically digital technology that connects their existence as a team with their customer through a proper CRM adoption and implementation.
Excellent, excellent. So Cal, what are some of the ways in terms of when I'm working with clients, I often advise them that, we have to gain an understanding of our client's business. What are their key priorities, key challenges? What some of the approaches I recommend are, meeting with the clients, doing some strategic workshops to really where you're going in with your teams from you, the service provider, meeting with the appropriate people within your client's organizations to really understand what are their priorities, goals, challenges, where they're going. And so doing that workshopping to understand where they're at and being able to map out a roadmap. What are some of the approaches that you would recommend? Are there other approaches that you would recommend in terms of how, be it you're an accounting firm, technology firm, how you can go about really understanding what are some of those key priorities, objectives, and how to translate that into what that means for your technology roadmap and delivering the right solutions for your clients?
A fact, let me call it a fun fact. Most accounting and technology services firms consider an ERP or a CRM not a necessity, while it actually is. Why am I starting here? Because when you're to speak to your customer, first and foremost, what exactly are you discussing? One out of two things, either a product or a service that you're offering. Then you talk about the manner of which, the approach of which, the methodology of which you're delivering that product or service. That approach you're taking must map to the majority of your customers because you cannot keep tuning it every time you engage with a new customer. I would pick a sample, and before I go to that workshop that you just mentioned, I have to define very clearly what is my product and what approaches can be tailored to get this product delivered and successfully adopted and operated by my customer. That would be the basis to start with, is that in order to reach to the end goal, my service, my product adopted by you, Mr. Customer, how do you see this happening? The how will explain to us as professional services leaders is that what are we missing? Now I look back into my back office and understand, how is our capability set up? How is our team formed? How is our product defined? How is the delivery process identified per product, per service? The mapping between which during that workshop is very important to see what the gaps are between the expectation and the reality. And that would be the next steps to take, the action plan to compose and start working on in order to improve the way we map and we mirror what the small and medium businesses segment of the market is expecting from the professional services firm at large.
Okay, so Cal, if I'm understanding you correctly, what I think I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, is so it kind of validates what I'm saying, that in terms of doing that listening, gaining that understanding of what is going, and meeting with your clients and understanding what are their key challenges, objectives, what are they looking to achieve. Gaining a clear understanding of that is going to be quite clear, quite necessary in order to determine, what that roadmap is going to be, what the right solutions and approach need to be taken with respect to your technology strategy. Is that a fair?
It's a fair statement. I'd like to support it with a practical technical example. When I define a product or a service for offering, the reason why I mentioned ERP and CRM, it must map to the voice of customer that I'm collecting through my CRM. It must map to the way we sell, and the sales team is capable of delivering this to customers in terms of packaging and signing a contract to initiate the delivery process. On the back end, if I don't have a proper ERP system that is helping me to compose the product, put it in a packaged format, be able to invoice it, be able to manipulate it for different types of operations between accounting, sales, marketing, even warehousing. If I'm selling a product, where am I putting these? How am I looking at my inventory? How is my customer receiving my e-commerce portion of my type of business? And believe me, that is one turning point that most of the professional services firms have paid attention to during and after the pandemic, especially accounting, when they said, well, I'm delivering the service, but I don't know how to get paid. I said, the solution is very easy. We can establish that for you on your website, and the payment will be done ahead of you immediately engaging with your customer, as they can also establish an appointment, deliver all the needed documents to you, all of this touchless, remotely, and you can even work cross-continental. So that being said, they started paying attention to the fact that, oh my God, we are so behind when it comes to the proper type of digital technology adoption that we should have in office in order for us to connect the proper dots between the three letters at the back end and the three letters at the front end, between ERP and CRM. Now, I can take it further, talking about more digital systems, but this is at least the first step to take in order for the full picture, the full supply chain, the full value chain to be properly mapped and delivered.
Right. Okay. Excellent. For some of the benefit of our viewers who are going to be looking to, if I think about some of the accounting firms that I'm working with, and they're looking to transition into becoming advisory firms, and they're looking to expand the offerings that they're going to be providing their clients, can you for those that don't have a lot of knowledge around the CRM, can you kind of outline what are some of the, I guess, capabilities of what our CRM is going to enable to do in terms of, housing insights around the priorities and requirements of their clients, of their buyers, how some of those capabilities of the CRM can be used to help deliver to client requirements, be it around from a product perspective, but other initiatives we're going to be doing to meet some of the decision makers' objectives around gaining insights, etc. Can you kind of give a little bit of a high-level overview of what are some of the things that the CRM is going to enable to do in terms of being able to support the transition of becoming an advisory firm, becoming more strategic, and as firms are trying to work towards supporting some of those broader client needs, which often the decision makers are looking for that kind of support to take their businesses forward. Can you just kind of give an overview of what are some of the things that the CRM will enable them to do in that advisory capacity as they're transitioning to becoming more advisory, strategic in nature, how that can help support them to do so?
Absolutely. We know that KYC belongs to banks. In my view, it belongs to every single organization out there. Know your customer. KYC is absolutely critical for you to be able to put together services and products. But also within the professional services firm's domain, we mostly focus on service delivery, accommodated or possibly associated with a service that has been productized or a product that supports the service that we deliver. So when you look at this triangle, there's always a service sitting at one of those corners, and it is always a reference point that you must rely on. It must be clear. And in order for your service to get to your business customers, understand the gap in the market. For example, there is a huge lack. I wouldn't want to put a number on it because it's really high. I'd rather park it. But I would say a huge lack of CRM adoption across Canada in small and medium businesses, reaching up to 400,000 potential customers out there who haven't yet tapped into it. And guess what? When you asked about them, here's what you get. Well, I have an Excel sheet. Well, good for you. That's a good starting point. I wouldn't undermine the importance of that. But what else? How much do you know? Are you gathering feeds about your potential customer that you're going after? So how are you generating leads? And by generating leads, I'm not just saying you're bugging people with sending emails. I'm saying what type of a product or service you're ready now to offer your customer should they pay attention to a marketing campaign that you're throwing out? The answer is, I don't know how to answer that. Good answer. Number two, many of those firms lack the existence of a properly established marketing department, let alone having a strategy that is clear where we are, where we should go. Number two, what type of campaigns that suit us? Number three, which platform should we go after? Which types of businesses will pay attention to us when we are investing in marketing and reaching out? And as we are doing that, are we first listening to what they actually need before we say, I'm pushing my product regardless? Or am I tuning my product to the exact need of the market where I am? For example, Op Excellence operates across multiple countries. We don't offer the same product everywhere because we have to tune it to the exact need of the market wherever we are and according to the expectation of the customer. All of that information you keep harvesting and accumulating within your CRM as part of your marketing operations. But guess what? That will open the door for your sales team now to step in with direct, laser-focused messaging about where and what and how I'm going to put a product or service in front of this very specific customer. Not every single one of them will be exactly needing what the other is looking for. This will bring the image of the company up to a level where when you talk to me as a potential customer, I realize that you've not just done your research, you're actually ready to take me on an adventurous, advanced, and ahead of the market type of a journey that will truly position me ahead of my competition, regardless if I was a small, medium, or even enterprise. I know the type of technology or the type of offering you're bringing to me and the way and the manner of which you're conducting the service now is going to differentiate my offering as a result as well. And that kind of value connection between the product directly to what the customer expectation is built on a value system. The value system is channeled and very well delivered. The responsibility falls on the head and shoulders of the professional services firm.
Really great insights there, Cal. So what I'm hearing from you then is that those customer insights, and I'm going to reinforce that in B2B we require buyer insights, the decision maker insights, having an understanding of what are their priorities, needs, what are their requirements, their objectives, having that depth of understanding, which you can get through a variety of mechanisms, interviews, workshops, etc., getting those insights and then making sure and putting those into your CRM so that you can then leverage to determine how you're going to service and support your clients from a technology point of view and for overall meeting their overall business objectives, what that means in terms of marketing, sales, etc. Couple of things I want to raise there. So buyer insights is quite important. You talked about having marketing campaigns, marketing strategy. I would argue that you actually, firms need a go-to-market strategy, not simply a marketing strategy. Marketing is just a component. What I'm seeing is a lack across small and medium businesses, in addition to not using a CRM. It's all kind of lining up into the value chain. There is a lack of understanding of their clients. They either don't know very much about their clients in terms of their needs, priorities, objectives at that decision maker as well as that user level. So that's problematic. They're not collecting the insights at a market or customer/decision maker level. They're not using a CRM, so there's nowhere to have a repository for these insights to draw on, to develop the holistic go-to-market strategy. Folks, I mean by a go-to-market strategy, it's holistically looking at what are the services and solutions that you're offering, developing that holistic plan, and it's your overall process around what is your services and solutions, to what opportunities in the market, so what industries, clients, markets are you going to be serving? What is going to be your program for client acquisition, retention, as well as expansion? Because there's going to be a number of things. You want to be acquiring those clients, but you want to retain and grow them as well. So your go-to-market plan is your holistic plan, which will involve marketing, sales, service, and support. So it's a snowball effect. You need to be collecting the right kinds of insights at that market, customer, buyer level, having an effective CRM to help you have the repository where you can leverage that to develop the overall go-to-market plan, your overall process to develop the right kinds of solutions, identify the right kind of market opportunities, and how you can service and manage those clients. Fantastic. Cal, I'd be interested in knowing from your perspective as well, what are you seeing as some of the priorities? Yes, there are those kind of product service requirements. What are you seeing though at that decision maker, at that exec leader level in terms of what are those key? If you look at the executive B2B buyer, what's on their radar, their priorities that you're seeing from a technology point of view in terms of what they're looking to achieve? Because part of the key role for professional service firms is to demonstrate that depth of expertise and providing the advice, insights, and guidance to those senior executive decision makers. That's really driving their choice of provider. So what are you seeing from a technology point of view in terms of what are some of those executive level buyer priorities that professional service firms need to be mindful of in terms of being your accounting firm technology? What's happening at that C-suite executive buyer level in terms of what's on their radar that they're really seeking what I call air advice, insights, recommendations, which is going to ultimately drive their choice of provider?
Well, thank you for raising that point, because it will always be the first point I would tap into before talking about any product or service that we might offer to a business of any kind. I will need a session with the CEO to talk about what is his growth plan looks like for the next 3 to 5 years. And that growth plan is driven by certain KPIs he might have in mind, not necessarily on paper, even if they don't have that very well documented, but I know the direction. And it's very important for the professional services firm to align with that direction. Also, we will be provided with the size and the capacity of which that growth is going to go through. So we have limitations that we also need to understand so that we don't come back with a service or a product or possibly an engagement that is completely outside of the bound of ability for the organization to accommodate. Now, on the other hand, I would possibly have the COO joining us, or whomever is in charge of operations, who has very well understanding with and of connecting the dots between sales, marketing, delivery, and overall administrative operations of the organizations to inform us about capacity. What does your capacity look like? Because the moment you're trying to offer a product out there and we are equipping you with a system, a business solution to help you deliver that in a better way, who's going to conduct this, how, when, and in which manner? And the capacity measure at that time will also define to us the approach of if we are to work with you and help you being equipped for a digital adoption and a digital evolution path for your organization to better enhance your service and product offering, whether in person, online, and in a hybrid manner, whether it's on soil, whether it's near shore or offshore. We need all of those elements on the table to understand how are you going to do it. Then we can together decide how is your growth going to shape up as we're connecting these dots, defining how much you can actually absorb, define what type of tools should you bring in. We'll look into the foundational elements, and I will always start, and this is according to a model I have developed even back in the days as of 2005 to evolve from an e-business concept to a fully digitalized company from A to Z. Start with your CRM, see how much you know, but most importantly, do not forget to equip the COO with a very strong ERP element there where they can work internally with your team and staff. Without the team and staff, that's the actual asset of any professional services firm. Without them, what do you have to offer? How can you make sure that you're tracking their skill up journey? Every 2 to 3 years, whatever you know is almost obsolete. You have to build upon it and take it to the next level as a growing professional within a team who works for a professional services firm. Now, that being said, taking it above and beyond to helping that team to understand that this journey of evolution, personally, professionally, that belongs to you as an employee, has a larger impact on the organization at large. And it is mapped to the go-to-market because it defines what the next capability in line and what type of customers we're listening to and we're able to offer to. This distributes the load across the leverage that must be established within the professional services firm. And I'd like to reference the Harvard Business School model here, where especially in the professional services firm approach, let's focus on the first 2 steps to start offering a service, whether it's going to be a commodity or a procedural offering. The commodity is simply a service that has been productized, a procedural one that is a product that has been turned into a repetitive service. These are the most desired types of services that professional services firms, especially in the medium-sized segment, would prefer to go for before they start transitioning into the gray hair and then into the rocket science, which means that they've grown into enterprise already. So when you do that and you consult with an intelligent mind like Michael's, who's sitting at the table to help shape this together and put it in a go-to-market and mapping the capacity to the service, to the product, to the implementation and approach, and collecting the right information about the customer, educating your employees about that, and the importance of how you're going to make this service work for each different type of customer that you engage with. You just connected all the value links within the value chain, focusing on your internal house organization to start with, and those who are living in it vis-a-vis your employees, before you go speak to your customers, knowing that you're working with the CEO on the growth target, working with the COO on the daily challenges of sales, marketing, delivery challenges that he would want to address with the proper tools that you would be placing in-house. And if you look up our website, you'll find many of those tools that we can actually bring forward. But most importantly, what maps them to your need is dependent on how your go-to-market strategy looks like.
Fantastic, Cal. So to kind of summarize and kind of wrap up, so what I'm hearing from you is that, and I think, and we're very much aligned, I think, in the thinking, is that having that depth of understanding, listening to the market, listening to your customers, to the buyer, it's an ongoing process. It's not a one-off, it's an ongoing process, and we need to be continually making sure we have that depth of understanding at that industry, market, customer, buyer levels, making sure we're getting those insights, understanding those, gaining those from that decision maker level as well, so that we can create the appropriate go-to-market plan, create the appropriate technology roadmap for our clients. So it's an iterative, ongoing process. And in order to be able to develop the right technology, the right roadmap, the right capabilities and development of our staff requires that ongoing intelligence gathering, leveraging the tools like the CRM do so, and to be able to evolve your go-to-market plans, your technology roadmaps accordingly. Fantastic. Before we go into Q&A, any key tips that you have? What would be one key tip, Cal, would you have for our small, medium companies there that are looking to kind of get started? What would be your advice in terms of the first step that they need to be undertaking to kind of, prepare them in their technology roadmap transformation to be able to thrive and grow, what's that one key first step that you would suggest to listeners, to our viewers?
I'll go back to the reference point I established at the beginning of the call, which is the world before the pandemic is a completely different world from what we're living in right now. Small and medium businesses thought at that time that, oh, what do I need digital for, right? I'm already conducting business, everything is going fine. I would encourage you to consider very, very seriously getting on your digital evolution. I wouldn't want to call it transformation. It scares some of the leaders. I understand that absolutely. Evolution is the right approach. Take it step by step. Tools, solutions, and business approaches are out there that can map to you. Work with a reliable consultant, a reliable firm who can actually take you there in a steady manner. It is not going to cost you an arm and a leg. Rather, the fractional investment that you're going to make will show you and your team and guide you through a very safe path for digital transformation and adoption that will get you to an excellent end game and end goal. So don't fear it, get into it, and we'd be more than happy to help.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, folks, if you have any questions, please go ahead and put them into the chat. That would, yeah, please do go ahead and put them into the chat. Cal, did you have any questions, any top of mind questions from, just in case, let me just trying to see if I can see here. Any questions? I'm just going to go through here. Any particular questions that you have that you wanted to cover off? Cal, did you? I know you had you have some viewers here. So folks, go ahead and put your questions in the chat if you've got any.
I'll be waiting for a question to be asked. If not, we could possibly throw a couple of questions on the table.
Okay, why don't you do so, Cal? If you've got a couple that, or a couple that are kind of burning questions that you're aware of, why don't you go ahead and we can try and tackle those while I see if any come through. So far, I haven't seen any come through as of yet.
I would ask if any of the professional services firms leaders or independent advisors, as well academic leaders who are joining us today, if they have done the preoccupied legwork to connect marketing to delivery, which possibly in many cases they don't exist on the same page, and how actually I can circle back from the delivery success of a certain project to package it up and put it in a digital marketing container and pushing it out there to the world. Has anyone done this?
That's a very good question. Very good question. Okay.
Not that we're expecting an answer.
Yeah.
Food for thought. So
yes.
That is your asset that you need to demonstrate to the world. On the other hand, looking at your operations from a connected point of view, who knows what, when, and how, is very important to check upon every day, because you don't want to lose the focus of what you're delivering in terms of value to your customer versus the target that you're setting to yourself every quarter, every year, and across your roadmap that you've established for the next 3 years to come. But always create a hard, carved in stone milestone for you every 24 months. There must be more of an everyone sit to the table. Let's take a look at our operations and how is it going. And midway through at the 12th month from initiating that program, how are we doing? But buy yourself enough time. Don't rush and don't jump to conclusion. Remember, we follow a dynamic market, and it is changing constantly across the world. What do I do if my expectations of the market is not met? What do I do if we're going through an inflationary circulation right now that is going across the world. And I would say the economy worldwide is not really doing great, but still, my service is vital to everyone out there. Are they going to stop consuming our services? The answer is no, but the business model of the professional services firm must adapt. The product and the service must adapt to the changing circumstances that are ruling and driving how the world is consuming it. And that would be a temporary adjustment, could possibly be there for a couple of years. It does not mean that it's going to change the DNA of the business. Yet, you always would want to focus on attracting the top-notch talent that will always elevate the service that you're providing to your customers, and make sure that they are always on a growth path, so that their attachment, loyalty, and dedication to what they do through your brand, through your company, through your firm is continuing to grow, and your image is not shaken by the alternating and turbulent market that you're operating in. As Michael said, seek a go-to-market strategy that could possibly channel you to different types of markets where the need for your services is much higher, even if there is no tremendous gains in it in terms of revenue, but it's a sustainability strategy, and it's a great strategy to consider should that be the case. And if you're ready and you're able to take on a new market for growth in revenue and profits, well, then that is the right anchor point that you would want to focus on, which is the readiness of your team to take on that market along with you and take it to the next level by listening to your customer, by focusing on the voice of your customer, your NPS, your channeling of your effort and ability to deliver to those new customers who are coming on board. You've built an excellent approach that will help you to succeed along the way.
Okay, I have someone making a question / comment in terms of developing solutions as professional service firms. They were saying, should it be a series of meetings or just one to develop appropriate solutions? My view is, I think this is kind of a question / validation. I would say yes, definitely a series of meetings to develop your solutions. And one of the ways you can do so is there's a number of ways you can have those kinds of meetings. You can do them potentially individually with clients if they're one of your high-level, top-tier, high-value clients. You also may want to be doing workshops and potentially doing other sorts of forums where you want to get a cross-section of your customer. That's for the likes of customer advisory panels, where you can be having discussions with some of the decision makers of your key clients to understand their requirements, given their objectives and their priorities, and having a series and getting that kind of feedback to develop solutions. So it's likely going to be more than just a one-off. Cal, do you have anything to add to that in terms of developing solutions? Because that's applicable, I think, for accounting and tech firms. So I know a lot of accounting firms are looking to develop holistic advisory solutions. So going about how you develop solutions for your clients. Anything to add to that about that solution development and how you go about doing so?
Well said, Michael. The reason why I'm a big fan of always investing in approaches, methodologies, and frameworks is because it helps the team speak a language that they all understand. And to that effect, I find enterprise design thinking as a vehicle for such a product to be produced would be great for one simple reason, not the only reason: empathy, empathy, and empathy. Which at that moment when you raise it, somebody will ask, well, did we ask the customer about this? Are we going to have a focus group with 1, 2, or maybe 10 of our customers? How much would they appreciate this product? And how are we supposed to deliver it to them? Trust me, if this comes from the side of the firm that is offering the service only, it will be lacking, and it will be lacking a lot. But when you reach to a point where you have something on the table to show, and you're bringing the customer to start doing this, and I've done it several times, and I've done it for mega companies actually who are about to offer such products and hold. Can we get 10 of your top customers to send representatives here in groups to take a look at it and provide us with their input? and let's see how are they going to react to success and failure. So what if we offer it and we fail? What is the reaction? So that we educate this to the team. This is what's going to happen. When you see these signs, immediately come back and like sound the alarm. Something is going wrong. Empathetically, I'm receiving signals that are not really promising. So what do we do together? That calls for everybody to respect the fact that it can't be done in one shot. What a great question from you, Mr. Iyad.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Do it in series, do it within a framework, document it, because somebody else is going to grab the baton down the road, and continue to develop the product according to the market changing needs and the customer preferences, which we started this conversation with, is that we have to listen to those. So every time I receive a feedback, I need to tune my product or service in order to adapt and accommodate the market. And that's how I will continue to be successful with attracting more customers, happy customers, successful customers.
Great synopsis, Cal. That's fantastic. So I think this really highlights the, and thank you for the contribution from our viewer there. So this is fantastic because it really highlights the point, the importance. There's listening in terms of gathering that market intelligence at the, listening to the market, listening to the buyer at the beginning to understand needs, priorities, the trends, what's going on in the market. But then in terms of solution development, getting that feedback, getting that co-creation and involving your clients, getting that feedback from your customer, the decision maker, as part of the solution development. There is that role of that client interaction, client feedback at both components, and doing that ongoing iteration, listening and modifying. These are all the part of an effective go-to-market process. So fantastic. Cal, this has been a fantastic conversation, really insightful. It's really a pleasure. Can you tell folks how they can connect with you, learn more from you from a technology point of view? How can they gain more of your brilliance, insights, access to you?
Well, we're always available through our website, which has multiple means of connecting with us right away. As soon as you click that, through my profile on LinkedIn, I'm very active, I'm responsive, and would be happy to engage with anyone who's attending today, or above and beyond any of your connections if you'd like to reference us. And I think it's about time for us to offer some sort of a door opening opportunity for every single one who's interested in growing their small and medium to a large business along the way with a proper and brilliant digital adoption approach. It would be my pleasure to actually offer, along with you, Michael, and definitely it would be a great pleasure to have you there, a free of charge, complimentary discovery session throughout the rest of the year. And we will be planning the convenience for it, for everybody to benefit from a review of your business, taking a look at what you need to do and provide guidance on the next steps. And should there be specifics that we can dig deeper into, absolutely would be happy to work with you along the way and take it to the next level. I cannot undermine the importance of having someone like Michael sitting to the table with his views of the connection and the importance of the go-to market versus the customer versus the operation, and how we can package that back to a proper digital technology platform that can be very well connected, very well articulated, very well architected to make this overall business model operation really work well together in a harmonized manner.
Fantastic. And for folks that are looking to get information, insights on how to develop your holistic go-to-market strategy and plan for your professional services firm, do connect with me on LinkedIn. You can also go to listeninnovategrow.com, listeninnovategrow.com. There's also, if you go to listeninnovategrow.com/SME.playbook, I'll put that in the chat. You can get a download a go-to-market playbook. But of course, as Cal has articulated as well, do connect with us. Reach out to us on LinkedIn. Connect if you'd like to have a complimentary discovery session where we can discuss your firm's requirements and help you map out the appropriate way forward. Well, Cal, thank you very much for a fantastic conversation. This has been an absolute pleasure. And to everyone, wishing you all a great rest of your day. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. You have a great day ahead of you. Thank you so much. Take care for now.